Right, there we go. Good evening. We've got quite a show lined up. We're talking football, we're talking rugby, and also, Fraser, we're going to be catching up with Sana Duthie in about 15, 20 minutes.
Right, yeah.
We've had her on before. She was breaking records then, and well, she just loves going for a run.
Remarkable woman, isn't she? 236 miles, I think her latest feat is, over 6 days. Most of us don't cover that distance in a decade, let alone 6 days. So, no, looking forward to having her on, hearing about that.
Yeah, looking forward to that. And Gordon, we were just having a little chit chat over sport over the weekend, and we'll cover it in more detail. What was your highlight?
Well, I actually popped Claverson Road versus Merlin's Bridge. Merlin's Bridge have had a bit of a poor start. They came away from Clarby with a 5-1 win, so they were happy with that. Then I dashed down to Pill Parks to watch Fraser's old team, St David's, take on the mighty Langham. It was a well-contested game, and it was the Wasps who came buzzing out on top.
We'll be covering the rugby a little bit later on. Of course, there's a little bit of a tournament going on over in France at the moment as well. Have you been catching up, keeping up to speed with the game, Fraser?
Yes, I have. And the Fiji result has thrown Wales' World Cup fate wide open, hasn't it? So I know we'll talk about that later, but yeah, good tournament.
It is great. And then closer to home, looking at football. Gordon, you just mentioned that you were there at Claverson.
Yeah, Claverson Road Clarby had beaten Carew the week before, Tom, 5-2. So I was expecting Merlin's Bridge to have a little bit of a tough time at Knockfield in Clarby. But to be fair, Tom Jago scored quite early for the Bridge. It settled their nerves. There was a bit of a rain about, which we haven't seen for a while, on Saturday as well. So the ball was skidding around and there was tackles flying in, a typical derby. And the biggest chuckle I had was Matthew Ellis playing for Clarby, accusing his cousin, who was running the line for the Bridge, of cheating, Simon Thomas. I said, how can you do that, mate? That's your cousin.
Family, yeah.
Interesting result. Tenby aren't going away, are they?
No, Tenby, I watched them the week before, Fraser, at Merlin's Bridge, ironically, and they won 4-1. They came from behind to win that. Adam Muscat, who was a very good scorer, he was at Carew last season. Sure. He looks dangerous up front. Scott Fernie's up top with him. Their captain, Dan Storers, he's a physical lad, strong, and the two Mansbridge boys, Darryl and Jerome, they've all tasted Division 1 football, so it's not uncharted territory, but they've gelled quite nicely, and they're sitting third in the table at the moment, having drawn with Hakin United on Saturday. Hakin came into that game 4 games unbeaten.
That's right, yeah.
And it was Scott Fernie who got an early goal, 6 minutes, I think it was. And that put Hakin under a little bit of pressure, but they were awarded a penalty midway through the first half, which was dispatched by Mr. Aldridge, Ben Aldridge.
Yeah.
And neither side could find a winner after that.
Remarkable, I think. You talk about the Mansbridge boys, obviously went back to Tenby when they reformed, didn't they? It's probably 4 years, well, you include COVID, 5-6 years of Division 1 football, those boys missed. And you're right, proper Division 1 players. We always go back to that, which we thought would be a defining moment in Tenby's history, and it proved out it was, but not in the way we expected when they won that Senior Cup. And of course, I think one actually scored the second goal that day. It's remarkable. But no, look, whatever people's opinion on it, they have reformed, they have come through the leagues, and like I said, they're here to hang around. I think they're a force. They're going to be a force. It's no beginner's luck there.
Are they genuine contenders then? Because this time last year, when I was here, we were looking at Merlin's Bridge with a surprise packet, and now I'm looking at the league 5 games in. You've got Tenby and Milford United up the top.
I mean, history has shown that you can't drop a lot of points in the last couple of years. Whether that'll change this year, I don't know. I mean, you look at the leaderboard now. I think Hakin and Goody both dropped 2 already. They're joint top, aren't they? Tenby have already, I think, dropped them 3, I have that wrong, possibly 5. Sorry, the 5 both against Hakin. They couldn't afford to drop many more than that, but they're certainly thereabouts. And if they don't challenge, what they will do is cause problems for every other one of the contenders. So they'll have a say in the title race, whatever happens.
Yeah. Does that make the whole division more competitive then? If people are trying to see that there's these other squads coming up, and you think, well, how do you match it?
Healthy to see, I think.
I don't know, really. It was. Speaking of Tenby, Dean Hurlow's still involved.
Yeah,
Fraser,
of
who
course.
was
A great servant,
even when they parted, he stuck with them through thick and thin. And I had a chat with him last week at the bridge, and I said, "Oh, Adam is just signed for you and Scofield." Yes, but they're all Tenby boys, Gordon. They all came through the junior ranks. I wasn't disputing that, Dean, actually. I wasn't disputing. I was just saying, But he was quick to defend how they are local boys, as far as he's concerned, from Tenby, who went to other clubs and have come back. I think they, as Fraser said, they definitely have a bearing on the title. But Goodwick were in fine form on Saturday, and they had a few players missing. I mean, 9-0 against Penna. I didn't see that coming, to be honest with you. I could see the win, but not the goal margin. And you have, Rhys Darling had a hat-trick. Will Howarth had a hat-trick. So, they're firing on all cylinders. And they will be the team to beat, along with Hakin. We'll wait and see if Tenby can be in the mix come the end of the season.
The last time I was sat in this seat, we were interviewing Hakin's new coaching structure and new management as well. They are still up there; they're level on the top. So, on the face of it, it doesn't seem to have much of an impact. Do you think that the confidence of this new look Hakin is going to stay high?
I think people just jumped the gun on Hakin. To be honest with you, they lost there. It did seem like the end of the road for a certain amount of that generation when they lost that West Wales Cup final last year. And you look now, of course, Ashley Bevan stepped back from playing. Nicky Woodrow stepped back. Leon Louis, of course, went to Ammanford, but has since come back. Vital player for them. There were rumours of Jack Britton going. That never materialised. Obviously, they lost Adam John. Look, we all know Hakin have got the nous to stay in a title race. They've proven it year after year until a race unfolds without them. I won't believe it. So, they do have got a few. I'm just looking through actually their side who played on Saturday. Now, obviously, you look at Anthony Bevans in goal, King in midfield. There are a couple of perhaps new names in there, but there's enough there for them to challenge. Don't worry about that.
And your old mate, the Mercury Cup, what's his name? Joe Lennon. I mean, Hakin have produced so many great youngsters over the years, and Joe was instrumental in that. And since Joe is unfortunately gone, they still are producing youngsters. They've got some terrific junior teams. They got a good setup down there, and Hakin have a pathway where the juniors can play second or first team football if they're good enough, and that's how they will be strong for a little longer yet. I feel.
Mentioned Fishguard as well, shouldn't we? Off the mark, only a draw at one point.
Brilliant point. They were 2-0 down against Moncton as well, Fraser. And to get 2 goals in the second half at Moncton and get a point. And it's ironically, they only played each other a couple of weeks ago, and Moncton won 3-2.
Not sure how this
I don't know what's going on here.
No, you hope that's a turning point for them.
The luck of the draw. It's funny enough, you just mentioned there about turning out the young players. If you look at the Division 1, they've all got that good setup from very juniors all the way up to the seniors and the seconds, and some of them having thirds. That pathway and getting the young boys invested in that club is really important.
100%. I mean, they've, as I said, it was Mr. Lennon who was instrumental in starting it all off. And I mean, when the first crop of youngsters came through, I have to say it's probably one of the best Hakin United sides I ever saw, with Gary Dawes was manager and the likes of Paul Jones up front, Kristen Bennett, Nigel Armstrong, Adam Collins. I can still roll the names off now. That's how good they were. And you're talking 25 years ago. It's a long time, but they are pushing. They push on and push on, and they have that winning mentality instilled in them, which Goodwick have come into it more now. This couple of years, they've done really well, and they've got a good mindset as well. Under Chris O'Sullivan as manager, he's done a cracking job there. Nigel Delaney, Lee Morgan coaching as well, and again they've brought in players. Perhaps not so much from their own. They've had a few.
Started to build a young second team now,
they have. And they know what they're doing as well.
Certainly Clarby done very well as well. Clarby, excellent junior
excellent setup.
It's so important now. At the time we talk about numbers dwindling, if you can keep a strong junior setup, more often than not, you're ahead of the game. I think you see a lot of teams now, football, cricket and rugby, who are going to struggle from not having one for a few years. Eventually will catch up with you.
And then just very quickly then, Milford United are currently 4th. They seem to have come from nowhere as well. But do you give them the confidence? What's your views on them staying at the top?
I mean, they laid down a marker, didn't they? That Joe Lennon Cup, they won it for the first time since I think 2011. We always talk about this, don't we? So, I think they'll be okay from what I've seen so far. It's early season. Look, over the course of the season, your depth gets tested, injuries come in, things do change, but the early signs are, they'll be okay. I think Kilgetty, I'm surprised it's taken them so long to get their first win. They beat Nayland, and the signs are Nayland could be in there again, to be honest. Down at the moment, it's too early to really judge. A lot will change till now.
Need a few more games yet to really see what's going on, really, don't we?
But,
if it's put money on it now, Milford will be all right.
Milford will be all right. And then
signings.
Correct me if I'm wrong with Haken. They haven't entered as many competitions this year as well. Was that just keep their ship steady with this new coaching structure?
Possibly.
Probably. They probably found a
Goodacre in the FAW Premier Cup.
Exactly. Goodacre, Haken aren't in that. They're in the West Wales Intermediate Cup, which they lost in the final. Mm-hmm. They're obviously in the Senior Cup final, but they haven't gone for the FAW trophy. Or
they're not going to get cup tied again.
Yeah.
We should mention the Senior Cup draw this week as well, isn't it?
It's actually on Wednesday, I think, at Haken United Football Club at 8:00.
Right.
Go along and see the draw live in the club itself with Ian Baker, the secretary.
There you go. Man in the know. It'll be interesting. Lever Cup competition, knockout. They're all in it, I assume.
Yeah, they're all.
Yeah, exciting times ahead. And then looking down a division, I do like to look at the down division too. So who's making waves there?
Well, Moncton seconds, isn't it? Actually, with the seconds for the top of the table game on Saturday. Moncton coming out actually 3-2 and won it in a good game. And an experienced bridge side as well. If you look through it, Lee Hudgell, Matthew Divry,
exactly. Joe Leahy was playing as well. It was not an easy game for Moncton, but they came away with the points. So they'd be delighted by that.
They'd be up there too. They always are up there.
Yeah, that's exciting. We've got Sana Duthie waiting for us. So she's probably not used to being sat around for too long. So we're not going to delay any further. Thank you for that football roundup. Oh, in fact, there is one other club that we should really mention.
Yeah. Perhaps they want us to forget it.
Probably, but no, I'm not going to do that on pure sport. But Haverfordwest County, they started off the season, well, before the season even started, there was so much promise.
Yeah.
But what's happening and how can they turn it around, do you think? Gordon's looking at Fraser. I'll look over at Fraser as well then.
I mean, what's happening? They're in a poor run of form, haven't they? Whatever we say about that European campaign, you've got to bury it now. The excuse of a hangover is probably gone a few games into the season. And to have lost 4-0, to lost 5-1 in TNS, they don't aim for that now. We've got beyond, I think, going to TNS and accepting a gimme defeat, and especially a 5-1 defeat. The last two games they haven't competed in terms of results, and they'll be concerned about that. It is still early days, but they're almost putting themselves in a situation now where they're looking up again, looking up at the top six, looking at clawing it back, looking over their shoulders at the bottom two. They didn't want to be in that again this season. So look, it is early days. They turned around a poor run of form last season, but there'll be concerns there, no doubt about
that. Yeah, the hope of that top three finish, they wanted that automatic space. It's a tough league. You mention this every year. There's no easy games.
There's no easy games in it, Tom. And as simple as that. And Tony Pennock's got enough experience to turn things around, which he did last season. But he's got a difficult job in his hand at the moment, and it doesn't help when you're playing second place Connors Quay at the Meadow this Saturday. But it is what it is, and fingers crossed. This may be the turning of the tide. Hopefully, let's hope so. As far as the Bluebirds are concerned,
fingers crossed. A bit of adversity to bring the team together and galvanise and come together as a unit and turn it around. So all the best this weekend to all the football that's taken place over this weekend. We're going to take a moment now. We're going to chat to Sana, and then we're going to turn our attention to rugby. So I'd love to get World Cup thoughts, how your Pembrokeshire side got on over the weekend as well, and what's to come around the corner. So we'll be back after a short moment when we'll be talking ultra marathon running, it sounds like, over a marathon a day for 6 days. I won't sign up for that one. You're listening to the Pure Sports Show with Eaton-Evans and Morris Solicitors.
Eaton-Evans and Morris Solicitors.